Afternoon.
Hello again.
So really pleased how you received the tour of property number 1.
Yeah, it's been a really popular video.
As indeed.
Everybody's excited.
And we've had a few suggestions in the comments. People wanted to know what the asking price of the properties that we're looking at was.
Yep.
And that we could specifically state what we thought our score out of 10 was. So property number 1 was €23,000 was the asking price.
Yeah.
And this is property number 2, which is a lovely property, and looking forward to showing you around. And the asking price on this one is $19,000. So we're looking forward to showing you around this property as well, and we'll give you our scores at the end and let you know what we think. And we welcome your feedback, so drop us a comment, let us know whether you prefer property number 1 or property number 2 and what you think of this one.
Yeah, we've been enjoying reading all of your comments and ideas and thoughts about the last one we showed you. It's quite fun, really, isn't it?
It is.
And
it's a
different
lot of fun.
ones and thinking about the different things and our top 10 and has it met them all. And it's great getting Rosie's perspective on things as well. It's always interesting to find out what it is that she finds exciting. She gets very excited by a fruit tree or a water or whatever.
Yeah, it's very true. We've had quite a few comments from people noticing that and said it's great that we include Rosie in the decision process, which is very important to us.
Yeah, it's going to be her land too.
It's a family decision.
Yeah.
A couple of people have asked also what our intention with the land is. Are we looking to live here? Are we settling down? Are we stopping van life? So, you know, that's a video in itself, but in short, we want to go off-grid, so we don't necessarily want a property with a house. It's a base, so we wouldn't necessarily be living here. We want to travel back to England to see our family and friends. We want to carry on travelling to other parts of Europe in our van.
Yeah, we'd always had the idea that we might like to get a bit of land, or it would be nice for, you know, one day. But it was really the pandemic, the last year and a half of reduced movement, restrictions, borders, lockdowns and stuff like that, that made us realise that we'd like to have a bit of land now. So if there's that stuff happening in the world, we have somewhere that's ours, that's safe, nobody's going to move us on, and we can just come and hold up. So for the meantime, we once we found a bit of land that we like and we've bought it, it'd be nice to do some bits and pieces, some projects, but we're definitely not done travelling.
Absolutely. So enjoy property number 2, let us know what you think, and we'll see you at the end of the episode. Thanks for watching.
We are Those Weirdos, a family of 7.
We've been living, working and travelling for 2 years in our self-converted Sprinter van.
I have a chameleon.
We're driving to Portugal to find a bit of off-grid land to buy, then we're going to apply for residency and avoid the Schengen restrictions caused by Brexit.
We'll be filming every bit of the process so you can come along with us and be part of our journey. So the drive to property 2 was absolutely beautiful. A really good road, so a single tracked tarmac road, but lovely scenery on the way. And we now think we can see the property in the distance. Oh, not quite there. Yeah, there it is. So you can see the roof of the little shed building. We'll just pull in there and we'll show you around.
Property number 2, Quinta Sarzedas. So there is a well. It's not a very pretty well. Well, I think it's just had a top put on it. But you can see inside there is water, quite high up. Bit scummy but easy to fix. You can see the old stones and then the new brick top. Lots of grapees. That's your chunk of land. I'm standing upright, that's how the van is parked. That's how the land slopes. And you're just on this little bit of road here. First tree is a fruit tree, which is quince, apple, not sure, something.
There's a stream!
Oh, there's a stream. Rosie's found the stream.
It's nearly dry, but it's still moving.
Quite a few olive trees here. Little building. Can't get into it, but we can see the outside. Hello. This is obviously a stream when water is moving, and at the moment it's just like a bit of a stagnant pool. But I bet you could clear it out. That's pretty cool, having a stream on your land. The earth looks really nice. I mean, yeah, it's dry, but it looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells good too.
Good.
Dom just pointed out lots and lots of grass here and reeds and stuff. So the ground is still nice and damp. Oh, I can see pond skaters. Cool. This is nice. That's all watery and squishy in there as well, like really squishy mud.
So this property, it would need some work for the van, because as you can see there's one parking space, it's on a big tilt, but you could potentially gravel this so that you could come down here and park anywhere along there, or come round with gravel down here, park here, or even further on to where the olive trees start. So along this side with walking cam, you've got the little building there, which is a very basic farm building. You've got some kind of swale that's been created here, and I would think in the winter it's going to flood. The water's going to come off the higher ground, fill this up, I'd imagine. But it's quite nice, could be quite cool. Get some fish in there. And if you follow that along, there's a very nice well, which is very full, second well. So there's your second well. Some kind of seating area. So pretty full, pretty stagnant looking, but a lot of that will be leaves. And then it runs all the way up this edge, all of this hill here belongs to it, and also all of the pines up the top, separated by the road, which is up here. So all of those pines there, and quite a long way up the pines comes with this land. So there's a few fairly mature olive trees. So it goes right the way up here. The soil is obviously dry as we're in the middle of summer, but it goes right the way up here. It's quite bumpy ground, but it's been fairly well cleared. Not too many weeds left. But lovely soil, very dry. It looks like really nice for growing once you get the wells going. I'm not sure where the boundary is, but over here, so we're now in the top corner for span round. That's the whole bit of land up to these posts. There's some kind of wall here, some kind of drainage structure there. Back round to me, so I'm not sure how far into this corner here it goes, but if we go up the hill, got cork oaks, more olives. So I think the boundary goes all the way up to that corner. So all of this land here, all of this ridge down to the sub comes with the land, and all of that land, and then all of the pines up there. So I think you find this trench here, that trench will flood or certainly fill up with water in the winter as the water runs off the slight hill of the pines. So that's all the land that's not pine, all the way up to that top corner. And then round here there's the stream there, and then this corner would also come with the land, which is the natural kind of stream round to this point there, and then down this line here where there's another channel for flooding. So over here is not included in the land. So that stone there will be your boundary. There's quite a few vines in poor condition. This one's in better condition because it's climbed up this bush, but look at all the grapes. And then up there by the well, there's 4 or 5 vines. There's another one there. So by the second well, there's difficult to tell as they're all overgrown, but maybe 4, 5, possibly even 10 grapevines in poor condition, crawling on the ground, need pinning up. But lots of them have white grapes on. That one's growing up the tree here, and that's your boundary again, up to there, and then the well on this side of the land. And there's Bogey. You can see, if I have the camera straight, that the sub is on a bit of a slant, but you could definitely come down here if you put some gravel in and got a digger. And then the building behind me, it's a reasonable size, probably about 2 and a bit times bigger than the sub, but it's just the thin Portuguese and Spanish kind of terracotta bricks, and then it's been roughly rendered, and it just has a simple bit of a crappy tin roof, but it would be good for storing tools, maybe do some with it at a later date. But it is right by the little tarmac road that separates this side of the property to the pines behind me. If I walk you up again, walking cam, you can see the back of the building. It's a couple of metres off the road, and then all the pines up there, pretty much as far as you can see, would come with the land as well. So this is the pine area, pretty much as far as you can see. The boundary being this line here, goes up like that, I think. It kind of goes to a point up the very top of the hill somewhere.
So our top 10 for our second property, which is Quintas Azedas. Number 1, water. It does have water, it has an abundance, it has a little stream and 2 cool wells. Arable land. It looks really arable, it looks like it's got really nice soil. It's a bit dry at the moment, but great for growing, I'm sure. 5,000 metres squared minimum, it is, but most of that is actually this pine forest, so not sure if that's good or not. Good access, has a lovely road to drive in on, not brilliant access onto the properties for the van, so we'd have to do that ourselves. 4G signal. Just grab my phone.
Hang on, I'll swap hands.
Emergency calls only.
So that's that out then.
Hang on, because sometimes it patches in and out. Alright, we'll check that again in a minute. Varied landscape. It's not particularly varied. Do you think it is?
Well, kind of.
I mean, you've got pine, you've got olives. Yeah, okay, alright. It's fairly varied. Fruit and olive trees. We do have grapes and we do have olive trees. We don't have, and we have a quince, so that's reasonable. A ruin. It does not have a ruin. It does have a teeny tiny building that's probably mainly for storage.
It's like a shed, really.
It is like a shed. Okay, so no ruin. No close neighbours. There really aren't. I mean, the land behind ours it looks like it's taken care of, but there's nobody living for what looks like 1,000,000 miles. And the fire risk zone, well, we are in the middle of pine forests, so that does make us higher risk. However, we are higher up, so there's more water around. Jury's out on that one.
Yep.
Double check, I do actually have 4G now, so it's patchy.
Okay.
That's our top 10.
Woohoo! And there's the road, which is just bigger than a single track but tarmacked. The back of the shed, the sub is driven into an olive tree. And then there's pine up on the hill on the other side of our property. And then we're surrounded by pine all around. So it's probably not great for fire. Having said that, there's not been a fire here for some time because these trees of varying ages, quite small trees, but there's no sign of burning. So if there has been a fire here, it's not been while these trees were growing, I don't think. And Juan has had a look and he says, I like the woods. I like to come up here for my morning poo-poo, and you maybe put in your veranda here and you sit down and I can go wandering.
I mean, that is, yeah, so far our potential ideas for this area are to hang up lots of hammocks, to cut some of the trees down, use them for firewood, and then have a nice cleared area. Obviously good for walking Juan, but I like the idea if you could put up a little wooden veranda and just come up here and sit and admire the view.
Yeah, there is a house over there in the distance. Marks out of 10?
I reckon an 8 for this property.
And Rosie?
10.
You like it, do you?
I love it.
Yeah, what do you like about it?
Well, there's slate, there's pine forest, there's a stream, there's so many olive trees that we're going to have way too many olives to know what to do with. There are grapevines, there are 2 wells, there are a lot of things that I really like.
Cool. So you give it a 10?
Yes.
I'll probably give it a 6 or a 7. I like it, and I think it would depend a lot on the price after negotiating, because we'd have to put in parking for the van pretty swiftly and get that gravelled. But the bonus to that is that we are on a tarmac road, so we could probably get some guys down with a little digger and a 10-ton truck full of gravel and get a little drive put in. I do like it, much better than the last property overall, but I did like the house on the last property. This little shed, as it were, doesn't excite me too much, but I'm sure you could do something quite interesting with it, make a little kitchen, toilet area, tool storage, what have you. So off to the next one.
So I wonder what you thought of that.
Property number 2.
Property number 2 comes with an interesting little anecdote that we need to fit on the end.
It does indeed. So we finished doing the little tour that we've just shown you.
The last bit you would have seen was Dom going, on to the next property.
Yep.
And it did not go to plan like that, did it?
It did not go to plan. So we got in the van, we hadn't started any cameras because we were just settling in. I started to reverse and I couldn't actually get out. So as you saw from the couple of times where we both mentioned it, the van was on a slant, and the front of the van was on sandy sort of gravel, and the back of the van was on tarmac, but there was a little hump from that tarmac section to where the...
Yeah, one of your back wheels was on tarmac and the other back wheel was on sort of dusty dirt, and there was just a little bump and it went like this and then it went down and then the wheel was here, and we're heavy. We're a heavy van, and being forwards on.
Yeah, so we got thoroughly stuck, and every time I tried to reverse I actually went forward.
Yeah.
And as you'll have seen, there was a little cliff, you know, nothing
Yeah,
too...
directly in front of the van. It was only about 4 foot, but you don't want to fall 4 foot straight nose down.
It'd be all right to jump off it in your trainers, but not to get your van stuck down that.
Yeah,
so
no.
it was quite hairy.
It was terrifying.
And there was smoke coming out of the engine.
And we were in the middle of nowhere, so it's not like we can just ring up a friend on a tractor or something. No. We don't know anyone.
So that lowered the score of the property
radically,
because although I said in the long term or even in the short term we could get a drive put in and we could potentially drive down the bottom, the problem was that because the property was split in half by the tarmac road, and the tarmac road was only just wider than one vehicle wide, there would be nowhere to park the van whilst we got diggers and so on in.
Yeah.
So it would mean we would have had to left the van somewhere potentially, get a digger in that we went to in a car.
Yep.
So not ideal.
And then as well as that, there was the patchy 4G signal And really, as you know, we work online. If we're not making YouTube, which is online, or doing other social media online, our actual work is online as well.
Absolutely.
So we can't
Yeah.
really have patchy 4G, can we? And Rosie would have been
No.
crazy for that. She's got to have Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So overall, I think between us, taking into account mine, Rosie's and Missy's scores, I think we'd probably give it a 6 to 7
Well, I
out
think
of 10.
Rosie scored at 10 in the video,
Yep.
and I think she would drop it to 8 or 9 based on the Wi-Fi.
Yep.
And then you gave it a 6 or a 7, and
Yep.
I was at an 8, so I reckon a 7 probably.
Yep. So 7 out of 10
7
for
out of
property
10.
number 2.
That's not a bad score, really. There was a
Bad
lot
score.
of good about it.
But it was certainly up from property number 1, I think.
It was, yes. It had more pluses to it than property number 1.
So onwards to property number 3.
Onwards to number 3.
So thanks for watching, and thanks for all the new subscribers for joining us, and thanks so much for all the comments. We've had so many. The more we've been out travelling in the last 3 weeks, the more comments and views we've been getting, so
Yep.
it's absolutely inspiring, makes all the editing worthwhile.
Yep.
So thanks for watching, and we'll see you at property number 3 very soon. Ciao.
Bye.